Hey people, welcome over here to the channel, the Petty Politic channel. And I am HQ over here at Petty Politic. And you saw the moniker, the Democratic Party just found its future, right? So last night's elections and what we are missing about that story. Look at your screens today, turn on the cable news today, open up the major newspapers today, and what do you see? You see pundits in expensive suits staring at spreadsheets, trying to minimize and sanitize what happened last night. They want to call it a statistical anomaly. They want to tell you it's a fluke. They're completely missing the damn story. Last night wasn't just a good night for Democrats. It was an absolute earthquake to this country. It was clear, unyielding declaration from the American electorate that we are completely exhausted by the chaos, the overt corruption, and the sheer incompetence of the Trump administration and his weaponized, failing cabinet. For months, they have cheated covertly through voter purges and overtly through radical gerrymandering, trying to stack the deck so the majority of this country could never be heard. They thought they had the game rigged. But last night, the American people flipped the table on their ass. We aren't just looking at random wins. These are not random wins. We are looking at a fundamental shift in this country. People are missing the story because they're looking at the old political map. They're missing the fact that a whole new generation of voters and organizers just prove that when we fight, the right-wing machine is going to crumble. Take a look at exactly who they're trying to ignore. Last night, they showed up and they showed out. Hold on. Let's go, America. Y'all hold on. Uno momento. Okay. This was the midterm vote. These were the midterm voting people. Young people came out. Fast-paced, high-energy clip. This is what we're missing. This is what we need. Republicans had a chance. They had a chance. Why voters are frustrated? They had a chance to govern. Iowa is what did it last night. Iowa was the turning point for last night. Direct reaction to the profound betrayal that we have had. This is a montage of the people we have running today. Let's be honest, okay? The Republican Party had a golden opportunity to actually govern this country. They had the power, they had the platform, they could have chosen to focus on the real issues, grinding issues facing everyday Americans. Instead, they squandered it entirely because of their rich donors, because of their greed and corruption. They chose the chaos, toxic, partisan rhetoric over the actual policies that could have helped everyday Americans. They chose to bow down to the corrupt executive who treats the presidency like a personal checking account. They installed a cabinet of pure incompetence, corporate lobbyists, and sycophants whose only job is to tear down the very agencies they lead while regular people pay the price. Voters aren't frustrated. We're furious. We are watching the rights get stripped away from everyday Americans. The public schools get defunded and the economic security dismantled just to line the pockets of the billionaires. And if you want the ultimate proof of how badly the GOP has alienated the heart of this country, you don't look at New York or California. You don't need to look at New York and California. That's all you got to do is look at Iowa. Iowa, a state where they thought their extreme regressive agenda was gospel. A state where they thought that they could, I guess it would be the fundamental Christian way. I don't know. I don't know what they thought. But regular, everyday Americans showed them this was not what they wanted. This is the person that convinced me. This person right here was the person that convinced me that y'all got a problem. Y'all, Republicans, got a serious problem. This person right here, Paralympic gold medalist John Turek, wins the Senate primary with establishment support. They haven't had a Democratic senator in that state since 2008. Since 2008. A state where they thought their extreme regressive agenda, like I said, was going to be what people wanted out of that state. But last night, Iowa became the epicenter of that fractured Republican Party. Regular, hardworking folks looked at that fucking circus they call the Trump administration or the Trump MAGA Foundation or whatever they looked at all the empty promises that they had and said, hell no, no more. We ain't doing that no more. Look at this former John Turek, John Turek on election night. This is what it looks like when the floor drops from under a corrupt establishment. This man's win. This man's win. Okay? He won last night. Let me show you his win. Hold on. I was like, oh, y'all don't even understand what happened. Y'all don't get what happened. This man showed you what it was.
Iowa sure does love an underdog, and we have done it tonight. After 10 months traveling this state in hundreds of events, meeting with Iowans in every corner of the state, I am proud to say that we have won this primary. My name is Josh Turek, and I am honored to be your nominee to be the next United States Senator from Iowa. This campaign has always been about having a senator from Iowa, fighting for the people of Iowa, not for the billionaires or the large corporations. This campaign has been about fighting for the middle class, working families, rural communities, small family farms, and working with anyone to address rising costs, stagnant incomes, and out-of-control corruption in D.C. Iowans all over this state have heard our message and felt hope that we can change this state and change this country. Tonight is proof of that. I first want to congratulate Zach Walls on running a strong campaign. He and I, yes, absolutely.
So, what happened in Iowa with Josh Turek is evidence of this movement. But if you want to see where that movement is heading, you have to look at the new vanguard. You have to look at the leaders who are redefining what it means to be a Democrat in America. And I'm talking about Maxwell Frost, James Tallarico, Mallory McMorrow, Justin Jones, Justin Plattner, or James Platt. I forget, James Plattner, yeah. Okay. Make no mistake, these leaders are fundamentally different. They aren't career politicians who spent decades fundraising in elite corporate boardrooms. They aren't interested in the old polite Washington consensus. They're not here to play nice. And they sure as hell aren't looking to be impartial while the country is dragged backward by these Trump policies. They understand that we're in a bare knuckles fight for the soul of this country, for the soul of this country, for the soul of our republic. Look at James Tallarico in Texas. James Tallarico in Texas. Yeah, I had to pull him out. I had to. Because he's speaking how we want to hear it.
There is something happening in Texas. There's something in the air. I am confident. I feel it in my bones that we're going to win this election. You know, there's been a lot of talk in this campaign about what it means to be a real man. Man takes responsibility. He upholds his commitments to his family and his neighbors, and he does what's right even when no one is watching. Here's what real men don't do. They don't lie and cheat their way through life. Ken Paxton's mugshot was taken just a few miles from here at the Collin County Courthouse, where he was indicted for investment fraud. He convinced his own friends to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into a tech company. But what he didn't tell them was that he was making a commission off their investments. He was scamming his own friends. If Ken Paxton will sell out his own friends for a quick buck, what makes you think he won't sell you out in the United States Senate?
That's Tallarico. So Tallarico, he's walking right into the belly of the beast, using moral clarity to dismantle right-wing hypocrisy on their own court. Look at Justin Jones in Tennessee. They tried to expel that man. They tried to get that man thrown out of Congress. One of the youngest people, right behind Maxwell Smart, right behind Maxwell Smart. Hold on. He has been in the middle of that fight with them doing gerrymandering. He's been a young guy in the middle of that fight.
I'm scrolling the names of victims of violent crime. By the way, homicide, rape, sexual assault of
Are you going through Trump charges, or when you going through Trump charges
and drugs
He does
in
not care
your
about
state?
crime. He hangs out with pedophiles and criminals in Mar-a-Lago.
Answer?
He does not care about going after rapists.
Can
He
you
cares about
answer?
keeping you fearful, to control you, because he wants to distract you from the real enemy, which are the corporate CEOs who are screwing you over.
You're comparing the KKK. What do you know
American
about
cities.
the KKK? Do you know
I come
a lot
from
about
Tennessee, where the
Gestapo? Do
KKK
you
was
know what the
founded.
KKK
They ran my
did?
grandparents out of Tennessee.
Taking it straight through to the Republican Party, killing all of those talking points. This is the new Democratic Party. This is the young Democrats, under 35, under 40. Justin Jones is under 30. I think he may be 31 or 32. Maxwell Frost is like 29. You have Mallory McGovern. You have the Abdul in Michigan. This is the new Democratic Party. Mallory McMorrow standing up in Michigan, exposing their manufacturing culture wars as she fights to hold a critical Senate seat. Justin Plattner, or James Plattner, I keep calling him Justin Plattner, in Maine, fighting on the front lines. Just a good old boy, just wanting to do right by the middle class. We're not playing defense anymore. Democrats are not playing. These young Democrats, they ain't playing defense anymore. They know that the only way to beat this radicalized, destructive opposition is to offer a powerful, unyielding alternative. These people are the future of the Democratic Party, and they are ready to break that legislative blockade in the House and the Senate if we get them in. They're ready to fight like no other Democrats have been. They're not taking the money. They're not trying to take the money. They're not trying to hear about this APAC. They're not trying to hear about Israel first. They're not trying to hear about the gay and the trans. They're not trying to hear about any of that nonsense. They're trying to hear about kitchen table issues. That's it. That's all. Where they need to improve, we have to keep it 100 though. If we want these leaders to have a permanent majority in the House and Senate to save this country, Democrats have to stop playing it safe. We have to address where the party is falling short. Of course, we have to completely overhaul our working class outreach. For too long, the National Party has talked down to working people and assumed their votes were guaranteed. I had a show about black men thinking they're being taken for granted and X, Y, and Z. And I get all of that. Also, I have to say, we all have to work together in order for this country to be better. We can't sit here and have arguments about gay and trans and all these side issues, whether illegals are voting or this, that, and the third. We need to save this country. Okay? We need to start trying to save the country. There are people who don't have health care, people who don't have places to stay, people who don't have enough money to eat, pay rent, buy a car. Those are the kitchen table issues that are important. These Democrats, these new Democrats are addressing all of those issues. Okay? We cannot award, we're being crushed by a affordability crisis right now. We cannot just be the party that says the other side is bad. We understand that the other side is bad. We understand that. We have to be the party that fundamentally changes the material conditions of people's lives. Wages. It's an absolute disgrace that the federal minimum wage is still stuck in the past while the corporate profits break records. $7 an hour. We need to raise the minimum wage. Democrats are on board doing that, saying that. Some of these guys are saying that. Housing. We have a housing market where hedge funds buy up the single family homes and then price out all the young people, price out all the people who want to buy homes. Democrats need to fight for that kind of restriction to corporate overlords and build affordable housing for people who make middle class wages. Healthcare. Everybody needs healthcare. We need to permanently lower the cost of prescription drugs, expand healthcare access, and protect bodily autonomy nationwide. No exceptions, no compromises. And affordability. Regular families are balancing budgets at the kitchen table and watching inflation squeeze them dry while billionaires pay a lower tax rate than a school teacher. That don't make no sense to me. If we want to win the House and the Senate, our message cannot be polite policy white papers. It has to be an aggressive defense of the working class. We have to show that we're willing to use legislative power as a weapon for the people. Maxwell Frost talks about this better than anybody else. This young man, 28, 29 years old, moving to the House. He was elected the youngest Gen Z member to the House. Okay? This is Maxwell Frost.
First member of my generation in Congress. You might expect me to talk about how climate change will impact our future, but as a Floridian, as a Florida man, I'm here to tell you that the climate crisis isn't some far-off threat. It is here. But with our movement and with organizing and an administration that cares, we are making progress. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have proven that tackling this crisis creates jobs. Fighting the climate crisis is patriotic. And unlike Donald Trump, our patriotism is more than some damn slogan on a hat. Because when you love somebody, you want them to have clean air. When you love somebody, you want them to have safe drinking water. And when you love somebody, you want them to... I'm Maxwell Alejandro Frost.
Alejandro Frost. Okay. That's Alejandro Frost. Maxwell Frost is right. The time for waiting is over. It's over for time. The time is now. The time for hesitation is dead. Because we have to stop playing nice. Everybody wants to be nice. Look at the line connecting last night's results to the leaders we just showed you. Last night in Iowa, across the country, against a stacked deck, against covert purges, overt corruption, the American people proved the movement is real. You can gerrymander all you want to in the South. We still gonna come out and show out because we have to fundamentally change this country. The direction that Trump administration is taking us is a direction we do not want to go. Nobody wants to go in that direction except 20%. And 20% is not going to control the 70-some% that says no. The ground is shifting beneath our feet, and leaders like Tallarico, McMorrow, Jones, Plattner, Frost, Mamdani are showing us exactly where the movement is heading. Okay. We don't know. We don't need to slow down to make the opposition comfortable. You don't like what we say, we don't need to compromise with a party. We don't need to compromise with the Republican Party that wants to take this country down a regressive authoritarian path that the bulk of us don't want to go. We completely reject it. We need to press that advantage. We need to channel that fury and that momentum of last night's victories into a relentless campaign to take the House and expand our grip in the Senate. Because the Senate and House are ultimately the wall. With them, we freeze this Trump era's corruption. With the House and the Senate, we stop their incompetent cabinet from ruining our institutions. With them, with the House and the Senate, we pass the laws that give working class, middle class people their dignity back. Okay? Dignity back, guys. To everybody watching who thinks we're years away from turning this around, look at last night. Look at those faces. Look at those people. The future isn't coming. The future is not coming. The future is already here. So we got to get out there. We got to organize. We got to crush the blockade. We got to not let gerrymandering stop us. I'm going to leave you with Abdul. New guy. Kind of just discovered him, but I like the way he's talking. Hold on.
If Democrats win in November, how should they treat Donald Trump's presidency? Should they start investigating him? Should they impeach him? Should they try to convict him? Should they go after this administration as furiously as they did the first time around when power changed hands? Should it look different? You tell me.
We have two responsibilities the day I take office in 2027. Number one, put as much sand in the gears into what Donald Trump and his acolytes are doing. And number two, build the conversation with the American public that gets us to the after Trump foundationally. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We really have to. And I'll tell you this, conservatives, MAGA, like to tell us that the rule of law only means something when you enforce it. So the rule of law only means something when we enforce it. And the man has done way past enough to be enforced upon. The guy was trying to give himself a $1.8 billion Department of Justice trust fund, trying to excuse him and his kids from being investigated by the IRS. If that's not a violation of basic public corruption law and our Constitution itself, I don't know what is. Then there's ICE. Then there's this illegal, unjustifiable war. There is so much that he has done that needs to be held accountable, because I worry that the next version of Trump, if we fail to hold this one accountable, will actually be smart.
If Democrats win in November, how should they treat Donald Trump's presidency? Should they start investigating?
He said he's afraid that the next Donald Trump might be smart. And that is our issue right there. That is our issue. We're dealing with a person that has no tether, any kind of connection to reality. The middle class is being torn apart. This is what we're trying to save. We're trying to save the middle class, and by way of saving the middle class, we're saving the lower class. And now we have a little bit of hope because we have some very smart, very talented Democrats on the scene. If you did not see the slaughter of last night, then you just ain't watching. You're just not looking. Trump was voted in for a reason twice. Yes, he was voted in by the bulk of the people the first time, and we found out how terribly incompetent he was. And then he got voted in a second time because most people didn't like Kamala Harris. And and most people thought Donald Trump was the only alternative. Now we understand. Now we understand that that was the wrong way. That was the wrong direction. He was incompetent then. In 2019, he's incompetent now, and the people that he put into place are incompetent. Don't get it twisted, Ghostface. Democrats didn't vote for Donald Trump. This was young people who had no clue about what Donald Trump was, had no clue about what he could do, had no clue about what he was all about. They just got on the internet and talked to some podcast bros, and the podcast bros said, hey, vote for Donald Trump. Now we got all those podcast bros saying we fucked up. So go listen to the podcast bros that you all were talking about. They'll tell you that they fucked up by telling you to vote for Donald Trump. Now look at our country. Look at our country. At war. Economy in a dump. I explained to you all months ago, when a Republican is in charge, the only thing the Republicans do is tax cuts, war, and crash the economy. Those three things. When a Republican is in charge, that's what they do. Tax cuts, war, crash the economy. And then the Democrats have to come in and then help save our economy. Every time. Okay? Every time. It's all. George Bush did the same thing. Donald Trump did the same thing. Donald Trump did the same thing again. Every time they got every time they've gotten in charge. And they don't want to govern. They just want the power. That's why we have the problems that we're having today. The issues that we're having today. The Republicans don't want to say anything to their dear fearless leader, so they're going to drag us all down into the dumps. Joe Biden got us out of the ditch that Donald Trump put us in the first time. He got us out of that ditch. He didn't get the car rolling, but he got us out of the ditch. Donald Trump came along, and here we are, car wrecked. Us in a ditch. No tow truck, no way around. Nobody to get us out of the ditch. This is what Donald Trump has done. So now I'm saying to you, in order to get saved, in order for this country to come back, we need new leadership. And that new leadership happens to be Democratic, because the economy under Democrats is better when it's under the Democrats than when it's under the Republican rule. It's just a fact. I'm not going to argue with people in the chat. There is no Democratic plantation. That's just stupid. That's just a stupid talking point. It doesn't affect me because I know better. I was born when I was 3/4 of a person. That's what people thought of me when I was born. So you talking about the Democratic plantation, you need to quit. Really, you do. So now we have a whole group coming in, young Democrats, smart Democrats. We need smart Democrats. We need smart leaders. We need smart Republicans, and we need smart Democrats who are going to pull this country out of the ditch that it has been driven into by Donald Trump. So hopefully that's the case. Apparently, if you have been watching the races last night, then you understand that it's going to be a blue wave. It's going to be a crash and burn for the Republican Party, because the Republican Party has driven us to the brink and given us an existential threat to our own sovereignty, to the future of this country. This is where the Republicans have driven us, to the brink of you all. At this point, the Republicans that are in charge have taken us to the brink where they're an existential threat, and they need to be taken out of the Senate and the House, and the Democrats need to be in charge. Okay. So we need to do all of those things. We need to do everything we can in order to save this country. Republicans don't want to save this country. The Republicans don't want to save this country, so the Democrats have to. And last night, if you watched any of the races, you saw that blue wave. No, the Republicans have never been for the working class. I don't understand how you can have conversations like this and then see where the Republicans have taken this party in the last 2 years. I don't understand. It's like you guys stand in a bubble and you don't see where we went down this rabbit hole. Okay? That doesn't work on me, Pierre. It doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on me. So, if you like my commentary, if you don't like my commentary, like it, don't like it. Please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. I have commentary like this every night at 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Please join the conversation in the comment section. As I said this months ago, the Republicans only want power. They don't want to help everyday American. And I have to ask, who do I? Pierre, what did the big beautiful bill get you? What did the big beautiful bill bring to your life? I gotta know, because this is a question that I've always asked. What did the big beautiful bill do for you guys, the middle class? I want to know. Please explain what the big beautiful bill did. Because people keep saying, oh, they did. What do you mean lower taxes? What do you mean? Where? What lower taxes? What lower tax? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about. There is no lower taxes for you. I don't understand what you're talking about. There is no lower taxes for you. The Republicans don't want to save the country, because if they did, they would stop what's going on in the country now. How does it help the country going to war? How does it help the country going bankrupt from all of the money being spent on ICE and being spent on the military? How does that help our country, our future children? How does that help them? How does it help the country by dismantling the Department of Education? How does this help our country not having health care for people who need it the most? I'm confused. How does it help our country? Because nobody has been able to tell me how this helps the country. Not having these things, going to war, dismantling the Department of Education, getting rid of health care, shortening people on food stamps, shortening people on Medicaid, kicking old folks off Medicaid, kicking veterans off Medicaid. Somebody please explain how this administration has helped this country in the past 2 years. Nobody wants to hear about the gay and the trans. Nobody cares about that. We care about health care. We care about the minimum wage. Have they passed any kind of bills that help raise the minimum wage? Have they passed any kind of bills that gave people health care? Have they passed any kind of bills that flattened and made the tax rate even or more fair for everybody? Have they done anything about free lunches for kids? Have they done anything about free college? I'm asking you, Republicans. You Republicans are saying they're doing the best they can for the American middle class. Please explain to me where these things have come, because I ain't seen no bill that the Republicans have passed when it comes to health care, when it comes to free education, when it comes to free lunches, when it comes to straightening out the tax code, when it comes to getting out of this war. I haven't seen anything that the Republicans have done. What have they done for the middle class? Then the first thing out of his mouth is taxes, knowing full well lowering taxes don't do jack shit for his po ass. Don't do nothing for your po ass. Okay? They ain't been putting them bills forward, Pierre Powers. That's your problem. That's you all's problem. You're in a bubble. I'm still on the plantation. Yes, I am Ghostface. And here's the problem. I'd rather be on that plantation than the Republican plantation, where they like to call me the N-word. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe you're one of those black people. Maybe you're one of those black people who don't mind getting called the N-word, who don't mind them taking all kinds of black things out of the circulation, who doesn't mind them closing museums, who don't mind them taking away black representation in the South. Maybe you're one of those black people. If you're one of those black people, have at it. I'm a different type of black person. Okay? Okay? Oh, no, that's your party. That's the Republican Party. That's the Republican Party that likes to do that. Yeah. Yes, the Republican Party. They don't mind calling you a chimp and you dancing to be a chimp. It is what it is. I appreciate the people coming over. I appreciate the people that showed up. I appreciate the people who listen to my content. I'm here every night at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. To talk about whatever issues are going on. We have new faces in the Democratic Party. We need new faces in the Republican Party. We need new faces in the Democratic Party. No, they didn't. No, they didn't, Ghostface. The Republican Party, the Democratic Party was formed in 1865. The KKK was formed way after that. Stop it, please. So either way it go. Yes, I am definitely stupid, Ghostface. I am definitely stupid. But yet and still, I tell the truth. You don't like the truth? I can't help you. Maybe you're one of those black people. If you appreciate my commentary, please like, share, subscribe. They need to do their research. I can't help it you're stupid and you don't do research. I can't help that. I can't help that, Ghostface. I can't help that you're stupid on your side. But I appreciate you guys showing up. Please show up tomorrow. I'll have another subject for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I appreciate all of you. And this is the Petty Politic. Please and thank you for showing up, guys. Please and thank you. I appreciate all of you guys. I do.